What's going on, everybody? I hope you can hear me. They got my little speaker. I could have put it on, but anyways, no matter. What's going on, peoples? So there was a couple things I wanted to touch on in my last video that I didn't. And I don't know if I even let the recording by Peterson play far enough so we even hit it, but well, some of it did, so I'm going to jump right into it instead of fucking dicking around like I normally do. But anyway, so we talked about Jung and how the main thing I talked about in my last video was how more consciousness is the cure to a little bit of unconsciousness. Where unconsciousness is kind of like, it's also a cure. You can become more back to unconscious, meaning you're a conscious being, but you're a conscious being, but you decide to be as unconscious as possible in your daily life. Not drugs, alcohol, just chasing fucking fast little fucking insignificant pleasures all the time because the tragedy of life sucks so bad. Shit like that. You become unconscious. And in my opinion, I don't want to say a lot of people, because we're in a time where I think there's more people at least trying to become magic and use their mind correctly and shit like that. So I don't want to say a lot of people are like that, but shit. Most people that won't check or look into their belief systems and look at anything that opposes what they already know are pretty unconscious. Not unconscious in the way that they don't have their conscious faculties or anything like that, or they can't consciously think of stuff. They might know a few important metaphysical things, but what I mean is they're not willing to challenge themselves. I think that's uber important, challenging yourself in this day and age. I think that's really important. Challenging your beliefs, your belief systems. Sorry, a cop drove by me. I brought it down. I'm on an 80 right now. I brought it down to 80, so it should be good. When I pass it, I brought it down to 90. I'm on an 80 right now. Third one I see this morning, so I really have to be careful. But so that was the main premise. But attached to that was, because that was a concept from Carl Jung, according to Peterson. Attached to that, and later on in the clip, maybe it was there, I don't know, but I think maybe towards the end. But yeah, so he did say, he said the California approach in a satire, I forget the word he used, satire kind of way, was to chase your bliss. And then Brandon says chase your blisters or something like that. Follow your blisters. He said it about your bliss, meaning do what's painful, and that'll get you enlightenment. And then Peterson elaborates, and I made many videos and podcasts on this, but Peterson says that Jung's philosophy for finding enlightenment was that you find the things that you're fearful of, the things that are painful. The place where the story of Merlin and the Round Table, King Arthur, okay? That story, they have to go look for the fucking Holy Grail. They all look in the part of the forest or the jungle or wherever it is. The scariest part at night, the part they at least want to go to, that's where they go look for the fucking Holy Grail. So with that, and the way Pearson explains it is, following your bliss, there's knowledge in there, and there's certain things you get from that, which I've also stated before, was, if you find out what you're passionate about, what you love and all that, and you go after that, make that profitable, and potentially turn that into a job where you're going to work every day, paying for your bills in a manner that doesn't feel like work to you. I mean, that's a great way to live right there, right? You're no longer the love of money is the root of all evil. You're not part of that. You're not one of those people that are going to be jealous, angry, angry at all the 1%ers because they're doing something they love to do and getting paid really good for it, and you have to work the shitty job just to stay afloat. So you know, and that's why the root of all money, the love of money, is the root of all evil, and that's the reason. Because sorry, this shit's way too hot. The reason the root of the love of money is the root of all evil, because if you're gonna do a job you hate, you're gonna become bitter, resentful, to the point where it's gonna be hard to be around you. I mean, I've experienced that. I'm sure most people listening to me have experienced that, and that's why after my time off and thinking that I was a slave and thinking that, you know, Christianity's enslaved us and the system and the government is all against us and all this shit. After thinking and pondering on that shit for years, I came to the realization that there's a certain way to look at that that's true, and there's also a certain way to look at that where it'll benefit you instead of bring you down. That's not really what I want to talk about, but in a sense it is. So me going back to work was a conscious choice, rather than me thinking I'm going back into slavery and I'm just going to be working a job I hate, whatever the case was. I'm going to slowly, I don't know what I want to do, I don't know what my passion and bliss is, and because of the level of responsibility I have, because of the choices to have children and buy a house and have a car and raise a family at my age, I can't necessarily just stay home all the time and just meditate until I figure it out. I gotta maintain my way of life, my bills. You know, I want to become enlightened. I want to become a magical practitioner for my wife. When she met me, that wasn't part of what I wanted. However, the fact that she loves me enough to let me focus on that, follow that, and see where it leads me, is proof that, you know, she's a keeper and she does love me. But in the same sense, I can't just leave her high and dry and expect her to follow what I'm doing when it wasn't part of the deal. And you know what? If she's meant to awaken, she will. If she's not, she's not. She's come a long fucking way and changed her mindset drastically. And you know, we've been reaping the rewards from it. So, you know, so all that's just to say that, you know, I've realized, in a manner of speaking, that, you know, I have to figure this shit out while maintaining a job. But there's certain magical things you can do that if you have an idea of work that you like to do, or that's fun for you, or you think that, you know, it's the work I do, to say it's fun would be kind of fucked up. It's not like it's fucking fun. You know, if I was getting paid enough money to maintain my household, like what I make at my job right now, if I was getting that kind of money to do like podcasts and my videos, well then that would be more the definition of fun. You know? Oh shit. I'm gonna have to fucking use one of these cup ones. Hold on. Alright, sorry about that. So yeah, that would be more of a definition of fun. But the stuff I've learned in the small amount of time that I've been with Ottawa Siding has been extremely useful. Like, I know how to put an eavesdrop on, I know how to put siding on, I know how to strap a house, I know how to do fascia, soffit. I know how to do a little bit of masonry and bricklaying, but I'm still learning a bit about that, the ins and outs. Like, I'm not currently doing that, even though like it's in the works. But frames, windows, and I've had a past of doing concrete work. I've had a past of painting the inside, of doing drywall, of doing roofing, and you know, a few other things that I'm not going to be able to remember right now because it's still early. But the point of what I'm trying to say is, I know how to do quite a bit to a house. Being a homeowner and being someone who likes being on a roof, and you know, to a certain degree, I do have fun doing this hard work. The only time it becomes not fun is if, you know, I'm working for somebody, right? I'm helping somebody else make money for their business, but I get paid pretty good. If I didn't have the driving expense, I get paid really fucking good. But I mean, that's not my employer's fault. I have to come to work. So I mean, the more I prove myself, the more I can get raises, the more that won't be such an issue. But I mean, there's certain people that sometimes I work with kind of suck dick to work with at times. But other than that, the only time it's just really shitty is if, weather conditions and all that. But, it would be a different story if one of these were my own little business and I was going around helping and beautifying people's houses or putting roofs on or whatever, doing masonry or whatever, and making my own money in my own business. So then, the job that I like to do now, that I can do all day, fairly easy, and I have a pretty good time doing it, even though it's hard work. And I'm getting something like 30,000 steps in on my Fitbit every day. It's a lot. It doesn't seem to bother me because I feel like it's going to keep me young and strong and in shape. So I was able to do Magick to find me an opportunity to get into the trades, to get some papers, to get some trades under my belt. And until I figure if the occult and videos, podcasting, or teaching, or making digital downloads about magic, when I'm finally through my curriculum, until I figure out if that's the route I'm going to try to make money off of or not. I might as well have this also as a plan, right? And then in the meantime, I'm able to fix things up in my house without fear of, fucking shit up, and having to YouTube every fucking little bit of knowledge, because I know what to do. And the more I do it, the more experience I get, the better I get, the more comfortable I get. So all that's to say was, the way I learn, the way I listen, the way I deal with people, is not always ideal probably for the trades. But the way I work, period, is before I get comfortable doing something, I'm going to annoy people, especially like either older guys that are stuck in their ways that expect you to know what to do, or younger guys that have that similar mentality. And it drives those guys probably crazy. I think most people are like this, but I know I am without a doubt. I have to do something quite a bit before I get comfortable at doing it. But once I'm comfortable doing something, I'm going to do it well, I'm going to do it fast, I'm going to do it with good quality. And I'm going to remember all the ins and outs, I'll be able to teach it, and it'll be like second nature to me. So there's a lot of things that where I am right now with sighting and eavesdrop, that's how it is for me. I feel very comfortable doing it. But nonetheless, every time I do a job, I'm doing something different. So it's still fairly new. And we kept alternating. I'd be doing drop, and then I'd be doing eavesdrop. I'd be doing eavesdrop, and then I'd be doing fucking sighting. And I'd be doing different kinds of sighting, so they weren't always the same. There was different instruments you got to use, different tools you got to use. So, and then we were doing roofing for a while. Big panels, not the roofing I'm used to, like with shingles, but big fucking steel panels on a roof, using grinder and snips to cut them. Shit that's totally different. So the point of all this is I found a lot of good knowledge from exploring these avenues that I didn't think I was going to hop back into. So I did roofing for a bit after my first little 2 years off, I'd say, or almost 2 years off, that I manifested when it was a law of attraction. And I found Magick, and then I did roofing, and I loved it. But I didn't get enough hours, and it was only seasonal work. So that was the problem, and I didn't think I was going to get back into roofing, and then I started going back to all these jobs that are not meaningless, but like warehouse jobs. And I'd rather be outside every day. I'd rather be putting something together and then seeing a final product. You know what I mean? Being outside with guys in the sun, not trapped in a warehouse on shift work. At least I'm on days here. Shit like that. But that's what happened. I got back into the trades, and I've been loving it. And like I said, I don't think it's necessarily my passion or my bliss, but who knows, something might happen out of this. Everything happens for a reason. At the same time, I'm doing this. So all this was to say is that I don't necessarily have the luxury of just staying at home and figuring out my passion or my bliss like some people might be able to in this day and age, especially with COVID. Unfortunately, I am deemed an essential service, so even when my province is on lockdown like it is right now, which is just, we're in red, but we're restricted, we're untouched, basically. So I'm able to work through this and make money, whereas, a lot of people can stay home, and sometimes some people might get more money through the government's curb benefits, and we might get less money. Who knows? But I'm able to maintain a pretty good pay, keep ourselves propped up above our bills. But all this was to say is, I have many proofs now of the wisdom that I wanted to get into my last video, but I'm going to get into here, which is your enlightenment is going to be found in what's painful, in facing your fears, in following your blisters, not so much following your bliss. Now, after a certain amount of doing this, you might have the knowledge of your passion and your purpose, your bliss, in other words, be revealed to you. And I think that's what I'm on the path of doing. But I think there's so much figuring out you have to do, and there's a lot of variables that come into play, like, for example, my family and all that. I have to be able to sustain that. But, one good example, besides the one I've been trying to lead up to say, but I haven't really said it right yet with this trade and all that, but there's a lot of wisdom I've been getting out of this, even if it's just home improvement wisdom, being able to run my own business wisdom, being able to build a house from the bottom up wisdom, like, besides all that. One of the biggest fears I had, which when I first got into the occult fucked with me a lot, which is why I was new age and I didn't want to do black magic or baneful magic, but one of the biggest fears I had was of spirits. I didn't want to see a spirit. Even when I believed in Jesus, like I said before, I wouldn't want to see Jesus, I wouldn't want to see a relative, I wouldn't want to see anything that's from another realm that shouldn't be here. And then I had to face that. And at first I didn't do it intentionally. It was being revealed to me. It was through a sleep paralysis that I was seeing spirits, and then feeling these presences and seeing these things, literally dark presences that not have a form, but not a form that you would expect, sitting on top of me, holding me down, or some of them, depending on how you look at it, taking my wife's body, but in a dream, obviously, like looking through her. And some of them that you couldn't see at all, but you knew they were in the room. Some that I could only hear that were yelling, like my daughter yelling, "Leave him alone." And it doesn't matter. But the point is, something I had to face. I'm glad I faced it. But after facing it, I was able to do many things. I was able to put the fear of magic, occult, spirits, all this shit aside, and be able to actually now work with spirits, talk to spirits, give offerings to spirits, ask for knowledge, evoke, and be okay with it, and actually reap the rewards. So that's basically what I want to go through today. So I'm almost at work there now, being that it's almost 7, and so on my way back home, I will discuss this even further on probably some ways that, if this is what you choose to do, I don't think you're really going to have to go and put yourself in those positions. I think it'll be revealed to you anyways, but sometimes it's better to do it under your circumstances and under your terms, because if you put something off and then you face it, a lot of anxiety comes with that. But if you face something willingly and on your own terms, there's going to be a lot of anxiety nonetheless, but at least you did it on your own terms, and then afterwards you have the luxury of saying, yeah, I fucking did it, and I did it on my own terms, and I fucking faced it, and I did it knowingly. And if you treat it like that, treat it like fear, then I've said it many times, if you face your fears, you really don't have anything to fear. But anyways, I gotta rock out for a bit, have a few smokes, get some workout going, and I will talk to you guys after, but you won't know. Oh, and I'm back, and I'm a little tired, I'm not gonna lie. The sun today just about drained my energy. But it's a good thing we release energy, and we always have enough energy to go around, and you don't really ever have to worry about losing energy, but let that be. So, before I closed up and said I did rock out time, I was talking about my fear of spirits. Now, first critique I could see coming is when I said I didn't necessarily deal with spirits on my own, that I was starting to have to be forced to deal with them through sleep paralysis. So I know one of the first things somebody's going to say through the sleep paralysis is when you're REM sleep, or when you're in REM sleep, which happens to me often, by the way. My Fitbit tells me every night how much I'm in REM sleep.
sleep much and meditate every day. Meditation is way better for you than sleeping. So, anyways, point is, or what I'm trying to say is, I'm going to say rapid eye movement. So not rapid. What am I trying to think of? Your body's paralyzed, but you're still conscious. But your subconscious thinks you're in a dream state. Therefore, things start coming to you. Blah 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 blah. And what I would say to that is, yeah, okay, probably true. But when you wake up from a nightmare or a really good dream, do you now feel those emotions for a while? When you're in the dream, you don't feel those emotions. So, regardless if I can say it was a dream or not a dream, like a child who has a nightmare, I would not want to go back to sleep after having certain nightmares. You know, anyways, I won't get into specifics, but so that's just a little bit about that for anybody who's going to say blah, 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 blah. That's not really encountering spirits. It's like, well, wouldn't be so sure. The spirits attack the subconscious. The subconscious is what takes over when you sleep. So when you're in a sleep or in a dream, and you are using only subconscious, and you in your dream gets attacked by entities, which you in the dream is representative of the subconscious. Okay? Because the real you is, anyways, doesn't matter. But you're asleep, the conscious mind is out of the way, and you're there in the dream, but it's a subconscious projection. Again, you can feel emotion like you're conscious, so it's a fucked up thing. But what I'm trying to get at is, okay, if someone says these things aren't real, it's within a dream, it doesn't count, blah, 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 blah. I think, well, if they wanted to attack you, say these bad spirits wanted to do something, how would they do it? Would they go attack your conscious mind? Hell no. Alright. So, I edited out a couple things that I was just saying in that last video that you just saw, last clip. I started falling asleep at the end there, so this shit started not making sense. But anyway, so try to finish off what the fuck I was saying there. So, you're in a dream, you're seeing entities, sleep paralysis, you're seeing entities. Things can happen in your conscious mind, under your conscious perspective, perception, and all that. Generally speaking, for me, and how I interpret what I read, when you're in a half-half, like when you get into trance for like your ritual magic, you know, that's when things may happen. That's the kind of state you need to be into. Speak and communicate with the divine entities, good or bad, doesn't matter. And or in sleep, meditation, shit like that. Very seldomly are you going to be consciously awake, like I am right now, and then all of a sudden see an entity beside you. You're not in the same realm, you're not in the same place, you're not in the same. This is one of the things I try to say to people, from everything from entities attacking you to the COVID virus. You are undoubtedly protected from it, you know, and then just like on a fucking spiritual level, and then we have things like our immune system and the way our body works after that'll also protect you, but we'll get into all that. The point is that consciously, when you're in your identity, like according to the law, it's someone can attack them, they can, but only if you allow them. Like if you leave the doors open to be cursed, and things that can curse according to the law, well then, yeah, the shit's gonna happen, it's gonna fuck you up. But it's you doing it to yourself, it's you allowing them, it's you having your identity, according to the law, or whatever your name is, attached to your subconscious mind. See, I made episodes about it, I made that very distinct a long time ago. And that my subconscious mind controls my reality. It's what runs my body for like being healthy and, you know, all the important shit. I renamed my subconscious mind. I programmed that into me. Whether or not you think that's something you can do or not, as long as I believe it in my mind and I've done it for a big long period of time that it's real to me, as long as I've done that, then ultimately it's work. I'm protected. This is why you'll see me do a sigil, like in the air. When I manage stuff, I say my conscious name, and then I'll say my subconscious name, and then I do my sigil, which is a combination of the two, which is the married forces, the male mind conscious, and subconscious together manifest something. That's what my sigil is. And it's like my mark is not a seal, but my mark, that whenever I put that on, like the king or whatever, that's good, you know. The king gave me a fucking pardon with his fucking seal, whatever. Whether it was like the ring in the fucking 1400s, 1500s, or the wax seal, or whatever the case is. I don't know why I'm talking about that. Point is, if once you get spiritual enough, I mean, these are going to be one of those things, I think personally, this is one of those things I think it gets revealed to you as you start doing the work. But the point of all that was to say that if someone was to dispute me seeing those entities when I had a fear of entities in my sleep state, which was a half sleep and half awake state, which was frightening as fuck. So because I had a fear of seeing entities, the only times I get close to seeing them was whenever I was really tired, or that's when I become fearful, really tired, in out of states, whatever. And anyways, I don't want to get into that per se, but what I'm trying to say is it was forced on me. This was my original point, was for me, I had to face this particular fear of mine, which is the fear of spirits. Otherwise, getting into the occult would have been very, very hard to accomplish and get anything done if I was still scared of seeing spirits, let alone communing with them. And, because, I mean, even though I know the true nature of some things now, and, I can chalk a lot of things up to thought forms, and I don't have to worry about any thought form really as long as I'm above it, and anyways, I had to get to that place by first immersing myself in the realm of deities, spirits, elementals, elements, devils, demons, angels, archangels, archons, all those fucking things out there. I had to figure out what's what. Once I was able to do that, everything worked out. But what I'm trying to say is, a dream is frightening when you're in a dream. Frightening as fuck. You wake up, once you realize it was just a dream, you kind of relax, right? But whenever you're in a sleep paralysis state, even if you can consciously explain it off, to me, it's more frightening just because you feel awake. Which you are, apparently. If you go look at the definition of it, it's your brain's starting to start dreaming, but you're still conscious awake. Your body's been paralyzed as if you're about to fall asleep, but you're not asleep yet. So it's like, okay, well, I'm not asleep yet. My body's paralyzed, I'm asleep. Then why am I seeing things from the other realms? Or why am I seeing these entities?
Sleep paralysis is a feeling of being conscious but unable to move. It occurs when a person passes between stages of wakefulness and sleep. During these transitions, you may be unable to move or speak for a few seconds up to a few minutes. Some people may also feel pressure or a sense of choking. The condition may occur in those who are otherwise healthier, those with narcolepsy, or it may run in families as a result of specific genetic changes too. The condition can be triggered by sleep deprivation, psychological stress, or abnormal sleep cycles too. The underlying mechanism is believed to involve a dysfunction in REM sleep too. Sleep paralysis is commonly experienced by lucid dreamers. Some lucid dreamers use this as a method of having a lucid dream. 3. Diagnosis is based on a person's description. 2. Other conditions that can present similarly include narcolepsy, atonic seizure, and hypokalemic periodic paralysis. 2. Treatment options for sleep paralysis have been poorly studied. 1. It is recommended that people be reassured that the condition is common and generally not serious. 1. Other efforts that may be tried include sleep hygiene, cognitive behavioral therapy, and antidepressants. 1. Between 8% and 50% of people experience sleep paralysis at some point in their life. 2. 4. About 5% of people have regular episodes. 2. Males and females are affected equally. 2. Sleep paralysis has been described throughout history. 1. It is believed to have played a role in the creation of stories about alien abduction and other paranormal events. 1. Imagined sounds such as humming, hissing, static, zapping, and buzzing noises are reported during sleep paralysis. 5. Other sounds such as voices, whispers, and roars are also experienced. It has also been known that one may feel pressure on their chest during an episode. 6. These symptoms are usually accompanied by intense emotions such as fear and panic. 7. People also have sensations of being dragged out of bed or of flying, numbness, and feelings of electric tingles or vibrations running through their body. 8. Sleep paralysis may include hypnagogic hallucinations, such as a supernatural creature suffocating or terrifying the individual, accompanied by a feeling of pressure on one's chest and difficulty breathing. 9. Another example of a hallucination involves a menacing shadowy figure entering one's room or lurking outside one's window, while the subject is paralyzed. Sleep paralysis is a type of parasomnia, or sleep disorder. It typically occurs when you are either falling asleep, hypnagogic, or when you are waking up, hypnopompic. During both of these times, your eyes move quickly and dreams occur as part of rapid eye movement, REM sleep. But your muscles are very relaxed. If you wake up before this stage ends, you may realize that you are unable to move or speak. A subset of people also experience hallucinations. These can include a feeling of foreboding, the sense that someone is in your room, the sensation of something pressing on your chest or choking you, an image of a monster, witch, demon, or other menacing figure.
Well, because we're about to fall asleep. So, well, how does that make any fucking sense? Well, because you're right between the realms. Okay, so you're between the realms, like between the realms, you're supposed to do magic and shit like that. And you can see these entities. Does that make it real or not real? Who the fuck knows? But I know a lot of people are going to try to explain it away like it's not very magical. But it's like, that's exactly the line where you want to be, almost. I mean, not that far over, because seeing things like that, especially when you're not ready for it, might make you very fearful. Now, I'm under the belief and the assumption that people with like really hard Scorpio fucking placements, Pisces placements, potentially even Cancer placements, Earth as well, but I think the water signs are more so. But Earth is also receptive and female in nature and shit like that. So, but I think those people could potentially be just consciously awake and see or feel more things than the regular person. But I could be wrong about that. I mean, I'm somebody who's been dominated by earth and water in my chart with like 1 and 2 fire and 1 and 2 air placements where I have a planet or something like that. The rest is all earth and water, mostly earth. Something like 4 or 5 waters. Anyways, doesn't matter. Point is, this is going with your ascendants, descendants, ACDCs, ICMC, as well as your sun signs and the lunar nodes. So it's not just the 7 planets. It's like, well, you have 1, 2, 3 in fire, and then you have like 4 in water, and that's like the 7 planets right there for what the fuck. But the rest of those are like air signs. And it's more than the water. It's like 5, 4, whatever the rest of it is. I mean, anyways, so the point of all that is I think it's more frightening and a sign, and was my brain or mind helping me out basically. So we need to face this shit. And like I said before, the first time was very frightening because I had the Hollywood projection in the back of my mind of what monsters and demons and all that shit is plaguing me, saying, you know, this is what's going on, this is something to be feared. And then when I started researching sleep paralysis, realized what was going on, and was so fearful that I was actually seeing spirits or something that potentially could have been in the house. You know, I was able to use some of that information. That may not have been accurate, but at the time definitely served me, which is a funny way to put stuff, right? But I was able to kind of face it. And then from there, I started developing and getting into Freighter Xavier deeper down. I started looking at birds, started getting into witchcraft. I think I finished the Luciferian doctrine at that point, which I realized the Luciferian doctrine wasn't what I thought it was. Now, is that what people that call themselves Luciferians use? Per se, I don't know. I mean, the ones I knew all read that book, but they didn't use it as like a Bible or cite things out of. But so that's what people think. That's wrong. But the point I'm trying to around that, so I was able to let go of the fear. So just because these things looked a type of way, when I saw them when I was in my sleep paralysis, okay, just because they look like a type of way, that might have been deemed scary, like they're all shadow, they're all black, blah, 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 they have red eyes, which is pretty frightening. But just because they had all that, doesn't mean I have to fear them. And the minute I got that into my head, enough, it never happened again. I would get the sleep paralysis. I would get the feeling before the sleep paralysis, like that fucking super sharp tingle electrocution through your entire body. That doesn't hurt, but sometimes it comes on a little strong at first, and it's just like uncomfortable, but it doesn't hurt. And once you kind of realize that's not really there, however you want to justify to yourself that kind of makes sense to you, it reduced like incredibly. But then no more dark entities, no more shadows, no more nothing like that. And then from time to time, like, I would see them, but they would be in those forms. So it might have been a few things. One being that anything that my subconscious mind saw in whatever you want to call it, whether that's the realm, whether it's thought form, whatever it is, it had to, if I was consciously awake, I'd say my nervous system had to pick it up and turn it into something that I knew, that I've been programmed. The closest thing that thing could represent in my limited knowledge would be a shadow or a monster or a demon or whatever. So that's what it made it out of. That's how I would explain it. This was like a conscious thing. But like I said, I don't think that really happens so often. But because it's a subconscious thing, which is where these things get programmed to. So this is kind of what I mean. Once I was able to, because that's what's programmed to me. If you see something in between the realm, shadow, whatever, it's going to look like this, and it's going to have this intention, And once you get that out of your head and you change that, well, then they can look like whatever the fuck they want. Or you can change, anyways. I'm going way off on a tangent, and it's all just to say that when you face your fucking fears, when you go into the dark forest to find the Holy Grail, when you follow your blisters instead of following your bliss, when you face your fears, you will get a certain amount of enlightenment that will get to some, potentially even a level up in what you're trying to master. And it can be many things. Like mine was a spiritual one, so it definitely helps me with spirituality. But it helps me more than that as well. Like there's many fronts where this helps me out. But then there was my working one, right? Fear of being a slave to the system, working my job I hate, that whole greed, the love of money is the root of all evil kind of thing. And I believed that, so I didn't want to work. But it turns out, if you can get a job that you enjoy, if you like, maybe there's some sacrifice you gotta do, anyways, doesn't matter. The point was, by facing that fear, going back to work, I'm now in a place where it's good. Like yesterday, I had a conversation, and I was asked if I was to stay on the trough team, like full time, within a relatively, like I said, 2 months or less, depending on my ability. I'd be bouncing up to almost like 30 an hour. But not quite that high, but I don't really want to say the number. But anyways, doesn't matter. Just because I know people watch for my works. But anyways, which is fucking sick. So, after that episode, after when I recorded this yesterday morning, which was the first thing you saw in here, boom, whoop, there it is. So, but with that comes extra responsibilities and having to work with some people that aren't always, whatever, but it just is what it is, right? I mean, I gotta pay gas. The more money I make, the better it is for me. So in every aspect of your life where you have a fear, where there's something you don't want to explore, when you have unconscious, unresolved shit, it's hard to see because you don't know what to do with it, right? Wrong. I don't think that's completely accurate. I think if your intention is to fucking face your fears and man up and do shit, then they can be revealed to you. Because, yes, I had a fear of spirits. No, there was no way I was fucking going after it. I wanted to go after spirituality. I was going to let things unfold to me. I was going to figure things out as I went. And that was that. I wasn't going to go face spirits anytime soon. Because from what I knew, you can manifest without having to fucking deal with spirits, which is still accurate. You know, fuck with spirits. You'll be a little more successful, and things will be easier if you understand the true nature of them and you, and you know, whatever. But you don't have to fuck with spirits to do it. However, there's a certain amount of enlightenment that came with it, and there's so much knowledge I got after I realized and faced that fear that, I mean, I couldn't think of it any other way now. But that being said, like I previously mentioned, I was going into sleep paralysis, something that hadn't ever occurred to me in my life before. And there's really nothing to account for the change. I wasn't doing any drugs at that time, which I was doing a lot of drugs before that time. There hadn't been any substantial differences in my life, stress or otherwise. Like, all the symptoms of why it could happen, I didn't really follow any of those. Just out of the blue, started getting sleep paralysis. But I was doing some magic at the time. It wasn't full blown. I wasn't even supposed to be doing it, to be honest. But sorry, there's a bus stopping to pick up some high school kids. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to be doing magic at the time, but I did. And you know, it was, I can't tell you exactly what I wrote on the sigils, what I did exactly for the magic. But I do know that I did sigils at some point to face my fears, to conquer my fears. I wrote them all as in, you know, I'm fucking grateful that I've conquered all my fucking fears and shit like that. And what happened? Well, you can't just conquer your fears without conquering your fears. So my subconscious had to reveal to me, some spirits, some things to deal with, you know? All these things I just shot at you guys, like the reasons for it, what my mind made of these fucking entities, all that shit. It's me just trying to figure out, work out how this played out so you guys can use it in a beneficial way. So, if I was you and I was listening and I was trying to say, okay, maybe whether you have a fear of spirits or a fear of something else, what's the first thing you can do? Well, do a sigil, do some kind of magic, do some kind of symbolic representation magic for banishing, removing, conquering your fear, so to speak. Then, if you are prepared for it, but be prepared for it, then circumstances will arise to, and they may be uncomfortable, for you to conquer said fears. Once that happens, there's going to be a substantial amount of spiritual growth and enlightenment that's going to come with that. You'll never be like enlightened, but there's going to be a specific enlightenment process that's going to come along with you facing that. There's going to be a bunch of knowledge that will be revealed to you by doing that. So that'd be the first thing I would do. I'd start off by making the sigil, whatever, saying that you're grateful that you conquered. From there, you can just wait. Try not to think about it, because then it takes longer to manifest. But yeah, you just fucking wait for it to happen. And once it happens, it'll be revealed to you. And you can do this in multiple areas of your life. Anywhere where you think you have a fear to conquer. Now, if you don't know what your fears are, which we probably all have a type of unconscious fear. So I was very conscious of this fear of spirits. But there might be some unconscious fears still there. But even if you are conscious of your fears, you can bury those bitches in the unconscious and just say, fuck it, I'm not dealing with that ever. I'm gonna, you know, if it's nighttime, if I have to watch a scary movie, I take these steps and I don't have to worry about it, and I'll barely even think about it. Because I mean, you know, I wasn't scared of much except for spirits, which is something you don't see every day. That's something that you might not even know that's real or not real, besides like not working with it. I mean, being a slave for a work, a job, or whatever, which is something else. My true fears were stuff that you couldn't live through. Mine is obviously the slight fear I have of losing my family members, my children, and all that. Obviously, you know, I don't want to lose my kids, my wife. But that's like under accidental circumstances. If the time comes that me and my wife are older, God forbid, but that's gonna be hard no matter what. But that's part of life. I didn't get into this relationship with my wife thinking we're gonna be together forever, we're gonna be able to cheat death. And then, all of a sudden death comes, it's like, that's a big letdown. I was like, no, I knew we're going to depart. One of us might go before the other, unless we go at the same time. Or we don't go at all, but that's the least likely one to happen. And that's the next least likely, but have better odds, is that we go at the same time, and then separately. And then her living longer is more realistic because she's younger and she's a female. Both people that are younger tend to die less than people that are older, and both females tend to die less than people that are males. So, the odds are heavily in her favor, but I'm the type of guy you can't ever count out because, when you think I'm down, I come back up just swinging. Just, very resilient. Not only that, anyways, I'm not going to too many fucking working, but so that would be the things I would do. So whether you have something deep in your unconscious or not, it'll be revealed to you in a manner that you can handle it. And you are going to be uncomfortable doing this, but you'll be able to handle it. Like, for example, sleep paralysis that happened to me sucks. Hated it. When I felt that feeling coming on every night, I was like, oh, fuck, not again. This sucks. Try to stay awake. And you couldn't. You can't. Your body just takes over and you're done. But it's like, after it was done, said, and over with, even though whatever the entities were there and it was fearful, I was just like, okay, well, it's done. I'm consciously thinking about it, playing all the scenarios out through my head, which really don't mean shit. Like, it was done, it was over with, and there was nothing else to happen. I went to bed, nothing else popped up, the same shit didn't happen, you know what I mean? All the work was done for me. All I had to do was just let it ride out until I went on, got more knowledge revealed to me, and from there it made sense, and then it stopped happening. So it's a process that you can do that can easily help you get a type of spiritual enlightenment. And all you have to do is make some kind of sigil or candle, whatever type of magic you do. Okay? If you don't know what I mean by sigil or candle, go back and watch some of my older videos, or just type in candle magic, sigil magic, and find the way that works for you. But you do that shit, and it'll be revealed to you your fears, and you'll be able to conquer them. And, like I said, when you face your fears, you're not always, and this is part of doing shadow work. It absolutely ties into doing shadow work and realizing your shadow. Because the things that you fear are the things that can make you most irrational. The things that can, depending on the fear, obviously, because every fear is different, but these are the things that can make you irrational, that can make you snap and go into, crazy things. So anyways, that's just some tips and helpful hints. Something I wanted to go through last time. Follow your blisters. The thing you're looking for is going to be where you at least want to look for it. And sometimes that's going to be deep in your unconscious. Now, depending on the wounds and whatever trauma you've been through, whatever this fear might be, I mean, if you have a sneaking suspicion, I mean, obviously if you have this deep fucking trauma, you know about it most likely. I don't know. The point I'm trying to get at is seek help if you need to seek help. If you know something bad's happened to you and you're trying to live with this, stop trying to live with it and just go get help. Get fixed. Let's talk to somebody who's going to help you realize that it wasn't your fault. It was never your fault. Whoever this was, whether it was a loved one or not, was an asshole, and they were hurt themselves, and they should never have hurt you. That you didn't deserve that, and that you're a beautiful human being, and you have the right to heal. You can forgive that asshole for doing what they did to you. That's going to be the most healing thing you can do, but first you have to fucking forgive yourself. For you blaming yourself for being not enough, whatever the case is, go seek professional help and get that dealt with. If it's not something like me, a fear of fucking spirits, or like my wife, a fear of spiders or something like that. If you got something deeper, which, even these little fears like that, you go into it and things will be unlocked for you. I honestly believe that. But trauma is a little different than fear, but sometimes they can be attached to one another. So I just want to make that clear, that I'm not saying that you can tackle. I'm not saying that you couldn't tackle this shit by yourself, but just tackling a small thing like my fear of spirits on my own was hard enough. and uncomfortable enough that dealing with something with, trauma suffered by a loved one, that's deeply rooted in your mind, your psyche. It's just something I'm not qualified to tell you how to deal with, but I'm not convinced that you couldn't deal with it yourself. But you'd have to let the divine, the subconscious, the unconscious, guide you, whatever you have going for you there. If you've been developing communication or not, they'll guide you, and D&B, they'll guide you right to a psychiatrist, psychologist. You know what I mean? They would do that. That's how it works sometimes. But yeah, anyways, so that's a little bit about that. 112.6, perfect. That's a little bit about that. About how to find that, and how to receive enlightenment, and through fear, through following the shit you really don't want to go and look at, things that scare you the most, the things you're like, oh no, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't go there. Or when you watch a movie, you're screaming at the person on the TV screen like, don't do that, because that's your fear, and they're doing it, and you're kind of projecting yourself through them. Those things. It's another way to see something that, if you are unconscious of something, but you start watching a movie and something's happening in the movie and it's bugging you to your core. Like for me, like I've never been in a circumstance where I've been completely claustrophobic or in a tube or anything like that, right? I don't have anything that I can remember of. Now, I know my dad used to wrestle with me and stuff like that, and when he used to get on top and pin me down, he used to drive me crazy. He used to freak out because I'd say I can't breathe and all that. So I got a claustrophobic thing, but I don't remember that all that much. There's like very vague memories there. But if I see something on TV where someone is like in a small tube end to end and they can't go backwards or forwards, see, good visuals right now, it's fucking me up. I've talked about this before. So those things just come to mind. It's not something I would ever think of. You ask me, like, what are you afraid of? Unless someone says claustrophobic, that's the last thing I'm going to say. But the minute it comes on, like, I start like, oh my god, I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? Any kind of claustrophobic, like anything, it just freaks me the fuck out. So there's something unconscious there. Something happened to me as a young boy, right? And I'm not blaming my dad. It could be something else. It could be a fucking cool past life shit for all I fucking know. But there's something there, and I'm not conscious of it most of the time, and I can barely remember that shit happened. But it did, and that was sketchy. Not really, I mean, I had lots of time. Anyways, so that's one way. That's another little helpful hint. Like if you see something and you get a reaction, and you see something similar again on TV and you get a reaction, it's a good hint that that's an unconscious fear. Now, me exploring my being scared and claustrophobic, I don't know if I can even do that, and that's not super trauma. But to put me in a pipe and block both ends off in a controlled environment where I just have to sit there and breathe and try to deal with it, potentially, but I don't even think I would do that right now, and that's not even like trauma. So that's why I'm saying, if you have something deep, go see something. You're worth it. Fuck. Figure it out. Go find me. Whatever you have to do, just do it. Get it done. Go look online. See if there's grants. See if you qualify for whatever. They want people's mental health to be fixed. And I know now, where I am, everything's red and locked down and all that shit. But do whatever you need to do. You can do it online. You can do it via Skype, which isn't the same, but it'll still help. But anyways, we're gonna get into something a little different there in a few minutes. I talk about this guy Andre quite a bit. He's the guy in my town who I knew, who had a past, who was dating one of the sisters of the girl I was dating in high school, and he stands on the corner. He was at the Christmas parade with his little son. I don't know how old his little son is, but my guess would be somewhere between 6 and 9, because his son's not bigger than my daughter, my older daughter, but he's bigger than my youngest daughter, so somewhere between 4 and 9 for sure. But the kid was at the Santa Claus parade with him. He had a megaphone. Andre had a megaphone saying, whatever, we're all gonna go to hell. Antichrist is coming. Jesus is the only way, blah, 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 blah. His son was wearing a sign on him that says Santa Claus isn't real. And this is a kid who was almost certain that he was under 9 years old. You know? That's pretty brutal. Now, I'm not saying it's not right or not right. You know, how he parents his child is all on him. I got nothing against the guy. I'm going to play a few videos probably from him. Try to keep some of the stuff to a minimum. But I'm nothing against him. I wish him well and I hope he's okay. But he recently got in trouble inside a fucking church, threatening other people. That's what made me bring it up. Yeah, so I'm going to switch gears to that to show you, so you don't just think I'm always lying on my ass. But this guy goes to busy intersections in my town with a megaphone and starts preaching from the Bible, different verses, and how COVID is a mark of the beast, and how it's God, people not having the right fear of God, and so because we don't fear God anymore, that this is what's happening. And so I'll show you a few clips of it, and I'll give you my analysis of why that happens, how he's, you know, like I said, I don't have anything against the guy, but I think it plays into, like, he was following his fear, and he was going down conspiracy, making a channel of it, to the point where he got so scared that he stopped following his fear. If he would have kept following his conspiracy line, he would have eventually made it out and found either some spirituality or whatever his path of enlightenment would have been. But instead of that, he got stuck. He got scared. So he ran to God. Okay? Which isn't a bad thing. Whatever. If you find spirituality and meaning in life and, you know, all that good shit from God, some type of scripture, some type of religious body of work, then so be it. But the point I'm trying to get at is, and you know, none of us are perfect. You know, he says he's a pastor now, but he's got records, and you know, this happened recently when he was in a church threatening somebody. So he's got charges against him. Yeah. Last time around the same time, police came to his house to break his house shit up, party up because of COVID, and he got a fine, and I guess Rebel News was helping him beat that. I don't know what that ended up, but I don't know, it was a year or two before that, he got in trouble for uttering threats, and then a year before that, for almost stabbing somebody and having weapons, and then there's something about cocaine, and, you know, this is a guy who's, you know, spiritual and practicing the word of God in a reborn Christian kind of way, yet is doing things that would be best described as the devil's work. You know, drugs, threats, stabbings, fucking, you know, all this shit. It's like, and I'm not saying to be spiritual you have to shun all that shit. Fuck me. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that one fucking second. But the problem is he preaches against that. Like, I watched one video where he's preaching about how the devil makes you do this, and drugs, and all this shit, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, I know you used to do drugs. I know you probably still do some drugs. You get in trouble, you're threatening people. It's like, that's not what Jesus told you to fucking do. But yeah, he's doing it. So, you know, that just is what it is. But I'm almost at work here, so I'll finish this video on the way home. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and have yourself a great fucking day. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's how you close out. We're not closing out. We're just waiting on to get on to the... I'm all fucked. I might need to get some caffeine in me and listen to some tunes. But anyways. Alright, what's going on, everybody? Fucking warm out here. Record-breaking April we're having here. So it's making everybody think global warming's real, and fuck, I'm not gonna give an opinion on that because shit is warming up. So our globe is warming, so that's definitely true. And who knows about the rest. Anyways, I'm gonna switch gears. I was gonna talk about Andre and draw some parallels about how he was unconscious, or he was starting his path, and instead of facing his fears, he went the opposite way. And I wanted to show that he's a real guy. I'm not just making this up, but I think I'm not going to do that because, you know, I don't have anything wrong with the guy. And if I put his information out here, it's kind of a... I wasn't really thinking about that. I was really focusing on the teaching lesson and not so much on the human and the person. And, you know, if you say something like, well, you have no problem pointing out this shit about Thunder Wizard sometimes or whatever, and it's like, well, it's kind of different. Not really, but... You know, Thunder Wizard, especially when he was doing his I'm a Lizard parody, he wanted people to go out there and make their own channels and dissing him and and share his shit because he wants the views, and he knows that there's power, and it doesn't matter what people put their attention into, good or bad, you know, attention's attention. But the problem is, if you're getting more bad attention than good attention, if you don't flip it, use it properly, it's gonna be hard to switch. So that's why that would be my justification for doing it to him versus this Andre guy who's just, you know, he's a human being, he's having a hard time, he's trying to do what he thinks is right, but because of his programming and because he didn't keep going and get past that fear stage, instead of just getting so scared that he turned to God, instead of exploring it more and realizing how much power we have, you know, he's where he is now. But to put his information out there, and, you know, it's just, you know, he's got a kid, he's got a wife, it's like, that's, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right. So I'm gonna switch and go the opposite way, because that would be like an anti-lesson on what not to do and what to watch out for, which is useful. But instead of that, I can use what I've been teaching about, how sleep paralysis, facing your fears, quitting, failing, and you know, because failing, or like, for Andre's case, for me looking from the outside in, who knows with all the variables that I don't know about, but you know, he was doing conspiracy stuff, he was into it, he thought he was on the right path, and who knows how he either got too scared and ran to Christ, or maybe he realized that what he said wasn't really true, and so he flipped gears, and maybe it's a combination of both, who knows. And so that's one thing. But failure, okay, so me making this channel, I'm not very popular. I'm fucking blessed to have 83 subscribers, and I love every single one of these people who decide to subscribe. Everybody who just views it, who doesn't subscribe, that's cool too. I get it. You know, if you have family members that look at your YouTube and see the channels just subscribe to, and one's called Ceremonial Witchcraft, well, that might be a little fucked up. So I get it. And you know, the comments and the likes and everything that happens, I appreciate all of that, and I love it. But I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not in this for quick cash. I'm not in this to do whatever. But I have a goal in my mind. I have a visualization that I hang on to, and I'm doing this for a specific purpose and reason. And those things are important to have. And so instead of doing the anti-way of what not to do and how to, you know, because if you're having a fear, whether it's, like I said, the fear like I had, either of working a job and thinking you're a slave, or the fear of spirits like I had, or my one that is a little more unconscious that I kind of know about, which is my claustrophobia, all those fears, whether it's those or something different, okay, facing them and realizing if you can get past it and try to, you know, get beyond it and see the true nature of these things. You know, maybe you have a reason to have these fears, or maybe it's irrational and it's something you can overcome. Either way, exploring it further is going to do your world of good. But more than that, there's something that happens to people. They have these ideas, and then one day they're all about it, everything is good, then all of a sudden they get a voice in their head saying, oh, it's not going to work, or people get in their ear saying, oh, no, that's not going to work, blah 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 blah, and we allow that to stop our ideas. And then sometimes people that don't stop there, they go past that and say, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want to do anyways. But then they fail, or it doesn't seem to be working out, or they had a different idea in their head, so they quit. And I want you guys to realize that don't ever do that, okay? Quitting whenever you think that you might have failed is one of the worst things you can do. Take a break, step back, and just allow things to work out. Maybe get off of it or whatever. Like in my case, for making videos, maybe I thought I'd be further along than I am right now. Maybe I thought something, and maybe that's a reason to say, fuck it, I'll just delete the channel, stop, I'll just do my own thing. I'll just keep working and just do my magic. But I'm not gonna do that. Those days when I get those feelings, I get those thoughts all the time. I get those feelings all the fucking time. Shit, I had them today. When you get shit like that, you gotta just put it on the back burner. For me, it's simple. I banish it and I accept that everything's gonna be successful, and I'm gonna help millions of people. And by helping millions of people, I'm gonna receive compensation and whatever form the divine universe wants to give it to me. Whether that's monetary gains, whether that's my fucking children and me are all healthy, whether that's we never suffer any crazy losses, I don't care. They can give it to me whatever way it wants to give it to me, because all those things are worth something. I can get a ton of money, but if my kids ain't healthy, what the fuck's that gonna do, right? So point I'm trying to get at is... Alright, we're going to cut off there. We're playing badminton outside and the beautiful sun and having some drinks and all that shit. But yeah, so just to finish off my last point I was making, yeah, whichever way I receive divine fucking compensation after giving, you know, doing a symbolic ritual and giving something, sacrifice, something has to be given. I mean, that's the whole once in a month thing with the full moon. Nothing has to be given there, but after that, yeah, everything has to be given. But anyways, I don't care how I get it. I mean, if my family is not healthy, well then, you know, what's the point of fucking having wealth and success, financial success, you know what I mean? I want my kids and my wife and me to be around as long as we possibly can, within good circumstances, you know what I mean? I don't want to be unhealthy and still hanging on, but I also don't want to be healthy and poor, you know what I mean? I want the perfect balance of both those things, whatever that has to come to me, whatever the divine, my subconscious, the gods, the deities, whatever God, whatever you fucking believe in, whatever that fucking wants to take form and give me fucking whatever, and that's fine. But what I want to get into here today, and feel free to shut it off now if you want, but Think and Grow Rich. It's a fucking amazing book, and within that book it's about thinking and growing rich, to the point where he literally tells you how to train your subconscious mind to get things in your subconscious mind, to visualize what you want, to put your emotion into it. He teaches you how to do fucking magic in the book Think and Grow Rich. He really does. You really have to put it on and listen to it and try to get past the beginning. So what I'll do for you is I'm going to find a part where he talks about the first few steps he went through in the book, so you don't have to siphon through a bunch of crap, and then him getting into the subconscious mind and how to train yourself to get your subconscious mind to give you what you want. I'm going to try to load up a part here so that you know I'm not just full of shit, and so that you actually go home or after you're done watching me or listening to this podcast or whatever this is on, you go and you listen to this book, because it's going to give you all the information you need on how to do it. And this book was made in I'm going to have to look that information up, but it was a while ago. This is a lot of new age information that people might fucking think, oh, it's all horseshit, it's all horseshit. It's like, no, Napoleon Hill fucking mapped this shit out for us all a long fucking time ago. All we have to do is fucking put it into practice. All we have to do is stick with it long enough for it to manifest.
Edit Think and Grow Rich was written by Napoleon Hill in 1937 and promoted as a personal development and self-improvement book. He claimed to be inspired by a suggestion from business magnate and later philanthropist Andrew Carnegie. 1. First published during the Great Depression. 2. The book has sold more than 15 million copies. 3. It remains the biggest seller of Napoleon Hill's books. Businessweek magazine's bestseller list ranked it the 6th best-selling paperback business book 70 years after it was published. 4. Think and Grow Rich is listed in John C. Maxwell's A Lifetime Must-Read Books list. 5. While the book's title and much of the writing concerns increasing income, the author insists that his philosophy can help people succeed in any line of work, to do and be anything they can imagine.
Alright, so what you just heard there, the last part. Well, first of all, 1937, that's like right when the war was started. Well, 1939, World War II, the Depression was 37, I think 39 might have been the war, depending on who you're, because like the United States didn't start till later. But anyways, so Napoleon Hill, this is when this was published. 70 years later, in 2000, is when it got really popular apparently. If I got dirt on my face doing yard work, I'm just going in and take a break, take a seat. Hide in the bathroom and finish my video real fast when I'm supposed to be helping my wife. Oh, but I'm gonna get back out there. I'm just gonna upload this. While I'm uploading this, to do the work, and then by the time we come in to take a break or make supper, make lunch, you know, then I can, you know, put it on and do whatever. Anyways, that's not your problem, it's my problem. So that's when this thing was published, okay? And like I said, when you listen to it, you're gonna hear it. Now, the last thing that Wikipedia Siri was reading to you was that even though most of this book is telling you how to become wealthy or rich, it's actually a way to teach you how to achieve anything you want in your life. Now, that's magic, okay? What we do in magic. So, and I've said this many times. So, whether I'm teaching you how to do healing magic or money magic or any type of magic, whatever fucking kind of magic it is, whatever I'm teaching you how to do, I can use the same concept, same rules, same. Got something on my lip, it's bugging me. You can use the same process, just with a different statement of intent, with just a different intention. But whether it's trying to heal somebody or manifest money, it doesn't necessarily have to be a different process. It's the same process to get the stuff into the subconscious mind and or onto the astral, however you want to look at it. Both ways are accurate, both ways are right, both ways work, both ways are basically the same thing to me, whether you want to think of it as there's this other realm, same as this one, and whatever you put to that realm manifests in here, or which is the subconscious mind, which is the other realm. Whatever you get into your subconscious mind through repetition or symbolism will manifest in your life. It's the same fucking thing. It's just two ways of looking at it. There's many other ways to look at it, and they're all right. It just takes you to understand how to connect them, how to do the law of compensation. Oh, I always say that word. But anyways, law of correspondence. Thank you. Okay, my head just told me that. The law of correspondence. But anyways, that'll help you connect all those ways of doing magic, how they're all the same. But regardless of that, what I'm trying to say here is, in this book, it's going to tell you how to achieve successful getting money, and the various ways. So he does various ways, and the ones that whenever he speaks about putting emotion into the visualization of you being grateful for having the money, it literally says that. Like, it's crazy. And this is a book about how to get rich, but it's a fucking magical grimoire almost. But and it gives you the proof throughout the book of all these successful people. So you're getting the faith, and by using this book, reading this book, listening to it, you're he talks about how faith is important, how if you use your subconscious mind correctly, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that what you're trying to manifest is going to manifest. If you can get your mind, if you believe that, truly believe that, then your subconscious will manifest it. That's where the problem lies for most people, is they can't seem to believe that it's going to work. And that's why I say to watch testimonials, watch people that are successful, that have successfully done this. The more you do that through repetition and just watching that, that's going to take you some time. It's not always a necessary step, but it's definitely something you should be doing anyways, because you might be one of those lucky people that can do it fast, or you might be one of those people that are going to have to build that subconscious programming that magic is real and you can manifest, because we're doing it no matter what, but you don't have the programming in your mind yet that you can consciously control it, even though by repeatedly doing stuff and repeatedly I've seen stuff when you were a kid and repeatedly being told stuff, you've been programmed, and that's what you're manifesting right now. But the programming that you need, and the difference between a magical practitioner and just everybody else is we're all doing it already. The difference is the fact that we know that we can consciously put suggestions in, or consciously give energy to something on the astral, or put suggestions in our subconscious mind and be able to manipulate that part of our reality maker and get it to manifest. That's the difference. And by getting that in your mind, by watching stuff like I have fucking for years now, I'm like 5 years of watching the same content, Dental Freighter, Xavier, Birch, Thunder Wizard recently too, because he talks about manifesting stuff. So regardless of his true intention of what he's trying to do, he does have so much, he does in so many words actually say that magic is real and it works and you can manifest stuff. Now, it's always derived towards his system and what he can do for you, and it's not really about the subject as a whole and how to develop yourself. It's more about how you should get him, and he will help you. That's what he's doing, versus, Freighter has those programs, but he's not telling people they need to grab it or whatever. He's giving you what he's done. He's got his free channel to tell you why this is important and how it works and how any system can work, and there's different systems for you, and if you choose this, it's great, but you should do what's right by you. So anyways, all that aside, I just wanted to point that out there, that that's what this is. So I'm going to find the clip of something that at least covers a lot of ground about this book to pique your interest. And I'll try not to be longer than 5 to 10 minutes, probably max. please do yourself a favor and listen to it. And if it seems like something that you should listen to, you might say you already know it. You might say, I already know all that, I don't need to listen to it. But no, you should listen to it. The more you listen to shit like this, the more programming you're putting in your mind. This book is a huge book on how to do magic, how to successfully get money magic, more specifically, but it's a self-improvement, do-it-yourself kind of book that also has testimonials and all the most rich and successful people around the world, their successes. And it talks quite a bit about how quitting is a necessity, or no, how quitting is not a necessity, but how failure is a necessity. You know, you invent something, until you get it right, you're gonna keep trying different ways. Nope, it didn't work, fail. No, it didn't work, fail. No, it didn't work, fail. Boom, it worked. You failed 4 times before you got it to work. And that's where it comes back full circle, that what I was talking about before was, if you feel like quitting, you should just take a break, take a breathe, and walk away. Because sometimes right when you feel like you're gonna quit is when you're about to have a fucking revelation. Sometimes it's your big break that comes after that. If you just make it past that failure point, you know, you failed, it's okay, and you get back into it whenever you can in the right mind, boom, that's when the shit's gonna start working for you. I'm not gonna say like, you're gonna get that $1 million then, but you're gonna get the opportunity to be able to get the $1 million. It might work its way up. Point is, don't ever quit on what you're trying to do. You need to keep your energy, especially if you're just beginning, you need to focus on the one thing at a time. You know, because it's like, okay, I want to learn how to manifest money today, so I'm going to go online, I'm going to find all this shit on YouTube on how to do that, okay, and then tonight I'll do it. Then you get online, and then the person starts talking about astrology, so I'll look up a little astrology, I'll get back to them, what do you think later, and then it's like, oh, your third eye, and oh, then microcosmic orbit, oh, then this is healing magic, oh, some astrology stuff here, oh, tarot. It's like, now you just spread that attention everywhere, and you're not going to get anything done, because you're watching all these different things. Whereas if you just, I want to learn about money magic, put this book on, or anything that teaches how to do money magic, it has testimonials of money magic in it, you listen to that all day, and then you go practice that, put all your energy into that and feel it, put the emotion as if it's already happened, you know, get as much energy into that, use dance, song, movement, postures, get all of that in there to increase your own energy. And then once your energy, you're high energy, you're moving, you're grooving, you're jumping, you're happy, you're fucking blissful, then you just focus it all into that intention, that visualization that you have with so much emotion that you're so fucking grateful for it. And then when you're done, close temple, get the fuck downstairs, forget about it. Even if that means you have to watch TV, which I hate promoting watching TV, but whatever you can do, I'd say go outside, do some yard work, go for a walk, try to get your mind far away from that. And if your mind does come back to that, and you get thoughts of when is it going to happen, or it might not happen, if you get a thought about like, oh, I wish it was to happen in the next few days, well, then say, I'm grateful that this has happened. I'm so grateful that my manifestations happen very quickly. I will be free, so I want to be, you know, that whole fucking thing. And then stop thinking about that. You know, anytime you have the thought, just accept that it's going to work, and say you're free from it not working, but just banishing it away. I banish those thoughts of me being free from successful magic, and I accept that my magic always manifests quickly and exactly how I want it to, something to that effect. But you gotta try to keep your mind off of it so that it can come to you. Because if you're consciously thinking about it, subconscious, the other realm, the astral, can't work on it. It can't get it for you. It can't connect all the dots. Can't find the path of least resistance. You put the energy out there, initiated from you, right to the astral. And now it's created up there, and it has to come back down to you and your reality. It's gonna find the path of least resistance down there. When you're consciously still thinking about it, you're still you're kind of putting energy into it, but depending on if you're thinking about it in a way that it's gonna work out, then you're putting good energy into it, so that's not bad. That's why I say accept it and forget about that, so then it can come back to you. But every time you consciously think about it, you're sending it that way, and it can't come to you, it can't come back to you when you're sending it one way. And this is all just to give you kind of a visualization of how it works. It's not always necessarily exactly how this shit works when I say this stuff, but it is how it works in a manner of speaking. I mean, we can't see how the energy travels, but one way of looking for it, if you want to think about the astral, is up or back or just to another realm. Wherever that energy goes, it's going there consciously. And for it to come back to you and manifest in this realm, you have to not be consciously thinking about it. You can't be. Because just the act of like if you're healed, like Brady's got this story about he had a gash on his hand, okay, and he used a healing technique to get it healed, okay. Stopped thinking about it, and then all of a sudden it started healing. And just the act of him looking at it and being all surprised that it was working, consciously thinking about it, it stopped it, because he interrupted the energy. The energy was coming back to him, and then he shot his energy at the same way. So what happens when two fucking beams are coming at each other? Well, they're gonna stop. So stop that energy, stop the healing magic. So this is where I derive this explanation from, something to that effect. So yeah, as soon as you fucking get it gone, get out of your head. Anytime you accept it, think about it. Anytime you think about it, depending on how you think about it, like I've already said, banish it if it's thoughts of you not being successful in your magic, and accept it if it is thoughts of you being successful in your magic, and then get that off your mind. Do whatever the fuck you gotta do to get it off the music, dance, eat, whatever. They say after doing ritual, you should ground yourself. So that means physically going outside and putting your feet on the ground. That's perfect. To get the energy to come back to you faster, you should ground. Like seriously, take your fucking socks off, put your feet on the fucking grass if you can. Because then you're on the earth. This thing has to come back to you. Electricity is always trying to find its quickest way to the ground. This is why it goes to metal, and then because it grounds it, right? It becomes neutral at that point. All electricity is always trying to get to neutrality. While the electrons are trying to get to neutrality, you send the energy out. Positive conscious projection. The negative, it's a negative polarity, that energy coming back to you. Subconscious mind, negative earth, negative water, negative, that energy's coming back to you. It's got to come through you to ground, through your conscious mind. Anyways, that it's going to find the path of least resistance, and it's going to travel back to you and manifest in your realm. And I don't think I can do a better job of explaining it than that. So anyways, here comes the clip of Napoleon Hill. If I may come back and chime on after it, but probably won't. Because I have many videos that probably explain exactly the same thing he's talking about. And a lot of them are before I even read that book. So anyways, hope you enjoyed. Have yourself a great fucking day.
Chapter 5. Autosuggestion. The medium for influencing the subconscious mind. The third step toward riches. Autosuggestion is a term that applies to all suggestions and all self-administered stimuli that reach your mind through the five senses. Stated in another way, autosuggestion is self-suggestion. It is the way of communicating between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and that which serves as the seat of action for the subconscious mind. Through the dominating thoughts that you permit to remain in your conscious mind, it doesn't matter whether these thoughts are negative or positive, the principle of autosuggestion reaches the subconscious mind and influences it with these thoughts. Nature has built human beings so that we can have control over the material that reaches our subconscious mind through our five senses. However, this does not mean that we always exercise this control. In the great majority of instances, we do not exercise it, which explains why so many people go through life in poverty. Recall what I said about the subconscious mind resembling a fertile garden, in which weeds will grow if the seeds of more desirable crops are not sown. Autosuggestion is the way you may feed your subconscious on creative thoughts. Or you can, by neglecting it, permit thoughts of a destructive nature to find their way into this rich garden of the mind. Editor's comments. Numerous psychological studies and experiments with hypnotherapy have validated Napoleon Hill's concept that a person's subconscious mind retains everything that person ever experienced. Studies also support the theory that the subconscious is non-judgmental. It does not filter or interpret, it simply processes information literally and stores it. For those readers who may be dubious about the subconscious, or that thoughts stored below the level of consciousness can exert enough influence to affect attitude and behavior, the following explanation should alleviate any such doubts. There is no doubt about the existence of the conditions known by the psychological terms fixations, phobias, and compulsive behaviors. These conditions occur when a child has learned something in such a powerful or dramatic way that the knowledge becomes firmly planted in the child's subconscious mind. Then, even as the child grows to adulthood and the conscious mind learns to understand that information from a mature point of view, because the childhood learning experience was so powerful, the subconscious still retains the childhood understanding of the information. The result is a fixation, phobia, or compulsive behavior that causes a response rooted in childhood, which does not make logical sense to the adult's conscious mind. That is because it does not come from the conscious. It comes from the subconscious belief that was so emotionalized it overrides the adult's logical conscious mind. Hill's theory is based on exactly the same psychological principles. Thoughts do remain stored in the subconscious. They remain just as they were when they were input, and the more highly emotionalized the thoughts are when they are input, the more influence they exert on attitude and behavior. It is this aspect of the subconscious that will allow you to use autosuggestion as a tool with which to input the positive thoughts that will help you achieve the success you desire. This is the end of the editor's comments. See and feel money in your hands. You were instructed in the last of the 6 steps described in Chapter 3 on Desire to read aloud twice daily the written statement of your desire for money. You were also directed to see and feel yourself already in possession of the money. By following these instructions, you communicate the object of your desire directly to your subconscious mind in a spirit of absolute faith. Through repetition of this procedure, you will create thought habits that reinforce your efforts to transmute desire into its monetary equivalent. Read these steps again, very carefully, before you proceed further. 1. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, "I want plenty of money." Be definite about the amount. 2. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. 3. Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. 4. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not, to put this plan into action. 5. Now write it out. Write a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire, name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. 6. Read your written statement aloud, twice daily. Read it once just before retiring at night, and read it once after arising in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. Remember, when reading aloud the statement of your desire, through which you will develop a money consciousness, that the mere reading of the words is of no consequence, unless you mix emotion or feeling with your words. Your subconscious mind recognizes and acts only upon thoughts that have been well mixed with emotion or feeling. This is a fact of such importance as to warrant repetition in practically every chapter. The lack of understanding of this is the main reason the majority of people who try to apply the principle of autosuggestion get no desirable results. Plain, unemotional words do not influence the subconscious mind. You will get no appreciable results until you learn to reach your subconscious mind with thoughts or spoken words that have been well emotionalized with belief. Do not become discouraged if you cannot control and direct your emotions the first time you try. Remember, there is no such possibility as something for nothing. You cannot cheat, even if you desire to do so. The price of ability to influence your subconscious mind is persistence in applying the principles described here. You cannot develop the desired ability for a lower price. You, and you alone, must decide whether or not the reward, the money consciousness, is worth the price you must pay for it in effort. Your ability to use the principle of autosuggestion will depend very largely upon your capacity to concentrate on a given desire until that desire becomes a burning obsession. How to strengthen your powers of concentration. When you begin to carry out the instructions in the 6 steps, it will be necessary for you to make use of the principle of concentration. Following are suggestions for the effective use of concentration. When you begin the first of the 6 steps, which instructs you to fix in your own mind the exact amount of money you desire, close your eyes and hold your thoughts on that amount of money until you can actually see the physical appearance of the money. Do this at least once each day. As you go through these exercises, follow the instructions given in Chapter 4 on faith, and see yourself actually in possession of the money. Here is a most significant fact. The subconscious mind takes any orders given to it in a spirit of absolute faith and acts upon those orders. But the orders often have to be presented over and over again, repeated positive affirmation, before they are interpreted by the subconscious mind. Because of this, you might consider the possibility of playing a perfectly legitimate trick on your subconscious mind. Make it believe, because you believe it, that you must have the amount of money you are visualizing. Make it believe that this money is already awaiting your claim, so the subconscious mind must hand over to you practical plans for acquiring the money that is yours. Give this thought to your imagination, and see what your imagination can or will do to create practical plans for the accumulation of money through transmutation of your desire. Do not wait for a definite plan through which you will exchange services or merchandise in return for the money you are visualizing. Just start right now to see yourself in possession of the money, demanding, and expecting that your subconscious mind will hand over the plans you need. Be on the alert for these plans, and when they appear, put them into action immediately. When the plans appear, they will probably flash into your mind in the form of an inspiration or intuition from infinite intelligence. Treat it with respect and act upon it as soon as you receive it. In the 4th of the 6 steps, you are instructed to create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once to put this plan into action. Do the same thing here. Close your eyes and create in your mind a vivid image of you carrying out the instructions. Do not trust to your reason when creating your plan for accumulating money through the transmutation of desire. Your reasoning faculty may be lazy, and if you depend entirely upon it to serve you, it may disappoint you. When visualizing the money you intend to accumulate, see yourself rendering the service or delivering the merchandise you intend to give in return for this money. This is important. Editor's comments. The basic principle underlying autosuggestion is closely related to self-hypnosis, and both techniques played an important role in the development of modern psychology. Although all 3 concepts, autosuggestion, hypnosis, and psychology, had to overcome